Hello, hi there, Hannah's here. So today I'm gonna try to answer a question that a few people have been asking me. Why I love Cambodia so much? Okay, now there's a lot of reasons. Okay, there's a lot of things why made me fell in love with Cambodia first time I went there 5 years ago, and I love it even more now that I went second time. But there's something really special that happened to me there. Okay, now it's one of those moments in your life that make you think, and like, wow, how blessed I am to be part of this. Now, what happened was, and I'm gonna try to tell you this as quick as possible because it's a long story. I could talk for hours, as you probably know. So basically, Cambodia has a very dark past, a very bloody past where I'll be writing about it, so you can have a look in my blog. But if you ever heard about Pol Pot or Khmer Rouge, yeah, you probably know a little bit about the story of Cambodia, but if you haven't, so I suggest you to research a little bit first. So I was in this museum, which used to be a school that was transformed into a prison during the Khmer Rouge regime. And the thing is, pretty much everyone that passed through that prison, it was killed. Okay, apparently there's only 7 people survived from those people that went through the prison, and I'm talking about a lot of people. Now, while I was visiting, it's a very dark place, as in push you down. I was walking around. I have to say, I spent a couple of hours there, and I pretty much was just crying while I was there because it was really strong. And at some point, it's funny because I'm kind of an OCD. I always like do the same. When I'm seeing something, I always go the same way, for some reason. Okay, and bear in mind, there was almost no one there. For some reason, I decided to turn left instead of turning right. And I went to this room first. And that was really strange because it's not the kind of thing I'll do. I'm so OCD on this kind of things. So I go into this big room, okay, and it was pretty much empty. There was just like this group of people, right? And I was just walking around, and when I got closer to them, a gentleman of the group went next to a picture and he pointed his finger to it, and someone was taking a picture. And there's something happened in that moment that I was just like, oh, I just felt like there was this energy around it. There was this sort of cloud around it that was very strong. Okay, so I got closer, and I'm not like I'm not like a nosy person. I'm not, obviously like, oh, what's going on? But at first I actually thought maybe someone they knew, someone like familiar, or someone that died, because all the pictures there that I saw, there were people that were killed while they were there. Instead, this very nice lady, she smiled at me, and I smiled at her, and she said like, yeah, it's him. And I'm like, what? It's him? Yeah, he's one of the 7 survivors. And I have to say, the moment I look at him and I look into his eyes, it was something I've never experienced before. Is the way he was looking, his looks, it was just so deep and just so sad, that I've never seen a look like that before. It was very touching. It was a very touching moment. Then I didn't even know what to do or what to say. But eventually, like the family, so it was basically with his family, and they explained me that it was actually the 3rd time that he was there since what happened, in 30 years, since he was a prisoner. So it was the 3rd time. It was actually the first time he was showing to his family. So he was there to show to his family what's happening, and to be part of it, because it was such an intimate thing. There was no reporters, there was no media, there was no the president of the place or whatever. It was just him and his family, and him showing his family, that horrible place where he suffered so much. And I was there. I was part of it. I was just part of the family. I was in that very restricted number of people, just like I was invited to be part of it. It's not like I was just, taking over at the moment. And it was a very special moment. And my God, but like the way he was looking, the way he was, I could feel like the vibe. Yeah, it was something very strong. Anyway, his name is Xiong Mei, and I spoke with him a little bit, and he told me that he was going to write his biography, and yeah, and that was it, and we took a picture together. Actually, I took a picture of him like doing the same, and when I found him on Wikipedia, his picture on Wikipedia is the same, not the same picture, but it's the same moment picture. Okay, so it was like, oh my god, like I was there when that picture was taken, and his Wikipedia page is that family picture that he took with his family, and I have the same in another angle. Anyway, so 4 years later, so last year, I went back to Cambodia. By chance, okay, and this was just a mere coincidence, my hostel was next to the prison. And while I was there, and I was there for like a week, almost a week, because I like Cambodia very much, I kept thinking, should I go back to the prison or shouldn't I? Because the place is very strong, okay? The aura is very strong, and it's very negative, it's very dark. So I wasn't really feeling about going back. But then one day I woke up and said, no, I have to go back. Plus, I kept thinking about Xiong Mei, right? Because he told I was going to write a book, so I would like to go and find that book. So I decided to go. I decided to go back after like few days there. I decided to go back, and it was very different because now it was so much more touristic, a lot of people, etc. And you know, it still was very hard to walk around there. But when I was about to leave, oh, and I found a picture, you know, took a picture again, and now I took a picture pointing myself at the picture. And when I was about to leave, I was like asking everywhere, like for the bookshop where I could buy, you know, the book, Xiong Mei book. But I was like, I hope like he actually wrote it. I didn't know if he did or not. Anyway, eventually, like I found the booking shop, and no, they didn't have it. I was like, oh, this is really sad. Anyway, I was exactly leaving, like on the way out, right? And suddenly, I was just like, you know, like kind of sad, like, oh, like the reason I went there was to get the book. But suddenly, for some reason, I look into my left, and it's there. Xiong Mei was there. Okay, it was actually on a book tour, you know, promoting his book, and he was there outside, showing his book. And I couldn't believe, but he recognized me. He recognized me. Xiong Mei recognized me. I recognized. I was in tears. I was just there, like talking to him. But what is the chance? Now, if this guy was always there, if he was always at sorry, but if he was always there at the prison, like it wasn't a big deal. But no, in the space of 4 years, I went there twice, and he was there as well, both times, even though it's very rare for him to go. The first time was the third time he was there, and then, like the second time he was there because he was promoting the book that he told me the 4 years before that he was writing. So, you know what I mean? Like, what's the chances? Anyway, we kept in touch, you know, obviously bought the book. He wanted to offer it to me. Funny thing is, the page of his, the cover of his book is actually from the day that I met him. So how cool is that, right? Anyway, yeah, obviously, you know, the story is longer, and there's so many details I'm missing out, but I cannot really tell everything. But this is one of the reasons I love Cambodia. Is like how I have a few different special moments that happen there, but this one is probably the biggest. What is the chances? What is the chances? And he recognized me. Like, for me, it was such a big deal that he recognized me, you know, because like, once again, he said, like, I made part of a very special situation in his life, which was him coming back to that horrible place, and I was there with him and his family, and then I met him by chance 4 years later. Yeah, so, well, I hope you actually go and do some research about, you know, the history of Cambodia and what really happened there, because it's a lesson and humanity needs to know. It needs to know. You know, people talk about, you know, Nazism and, you know, Hitler and all the other horrible people, but the world needs to remember so these things don't ever happen again. We have a blessed day, and much love from Bali.